crack open one of these dry pods. Let's see what they look like inside. Very beautiful maroon color bean with tan markings.
4 beans.
And these pods will have anywhere from 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 if it's a really long pod. Now we'll take a look at it. And so you see this color pattern is just the opposite. It's tan with the maroon markings.
Around that?
Well, one of these bundles here, you would probably get a couple of cups worth, 3 cups worth of beans, dry beans. And that's plenty to serve in a kettle of soup or cornbread. So you can see the reason we stack them like this, you leave them out for about a week so they dry. And what we're looking for is the leaves to dry, stems to dry, because when you store this, you don't want them to be wet yet because they'll mold and mildew. And some of the beans here still aren't finished. And so they're still in this stage. You can see the bean in there. And they call these a butter bean. You can crack them open.
A butter bean at this stage?
Yeah, at this stage you can cook them up, boil them up with butter. It's delicious. The shell though, you can't. It's a little bit too hard to eat this part. But then if you take these, boil them with your sweet corn or the Tuscarora flour corn in a milky stage, you mix them together, that's really what they call succotash. And it's nothing like the canned succotash your mom used to buy when you were kids. That's just terrible. The actual real stuff you make is delicious. Really, we have 2 of the 3 sisters here. The Ghana Hakata out over there, the Utah hat right here, and we call it Gawatiti. It makes life. Life sustainers, and they make life because we've been using these forever. We're just missing the squash. We had no squash here. For them, well, you leave them out here to dry for about a week, or whatever you got. I chose to start doing it last Friday, because I saw the long range weather forecast could be like this all week, and that'll really help dry them up. But you come down now with a wagon, and a tractor and a wagon with a pitchfork, and you just pitchfork these bundles into the back of the wagon, or you just grab by your hand, throw them in. And then usually in your barns you have a floor above you, like a second floor, a hay maul or something where you store stuff. And then you just pitch them up there, throw them up there, and somebody's up in the wall moving them, so you make a nice pile. And then when you need to use them, in a month or 2 they're totally dry. You lay a tarp down the ground and you just throw as many bundles as you think you need down onto that tarp, and you just use a pitchfork and just start banging the heck out of them. And that busts up because everything's dry. And just by experience, you'll know when that bundles, those 3 or 4 bundles are totally busted up.
Got it.
We do the mound style garden with 3 sisters at the Tuscarora school. 5th graders plant it in the spring, take care of it, and then they come back in the fall as 6th graders, they harvest. And so we have all 3 sisters there, multiple styles of pole beans. We grow probably about 10, 11 different varieties of Iroquois beans, Haudenosaunee beans. You know, we've gotten a lot, Norton, and he's had a lot. People like
Steve McCumber
from Venawa, he's been a big help. He comes down, he shares beans. Rowan White, she's also, I believe, from Akwesasne, she's been a big help. Doug Eglin. So different folks travel around the different reservations, different communities, and keep the seed trade going.
Nice.
Yeah, even if it gets a little bit of rain on it, it's not that type of moisture that we're worried about. It's the actual moisture that's in the leaves. We want that to dry. That's what'll mold. If it gets rained on, that'll just shake off and fall right off. No problem. Here's a good example of one that broke. You can see here's where it broke. The wind blew it over that way, cracked almost in half, but heal itself a little bit, but there's enough to keep going, and look at how nice and clean it is. The other thing too, you see a lot of these twigs. Again, this method Norton taught me, he's had huge fields of beans, and I was just fortunate enough to be able to help him and work with him doing this and pitching it into the wagon up in the barn. Reminds me of a funny story of Big Man, Patterson Big Man. One year he grew bear beans, a whole bunch, a big giant row, maybe even 2 rows, but he had no poles. Bear beans are a huge pole bean. He just let them grow any old way along the ground, and he kind of, when it's time to pick them this time of year, he pulled up the first few, and the vines are so tied up together, he just started rolling in a ball. He said he just rolled the whole, you know.
Why not?
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure he lost a few to mold touching the ground, but you know what? He had thousands of bear beans to use and eat. One way that I've seen with the bear beans, I've noticed in some community functions here at Tuscarora, somebody is making the succotash with the sweet corn and bear beans, and they swell up huge. So that's kind of cool, you know, reincorporating the bear beans. You know, if you ever see bear beans in corn soup, they're giant, and it turns the water darker. It's a dark corn soup with the bear beans. In cornbread, they're huge, you know, you cut into it. They kind of shock you at first. Yeah, they're big beans. Another thing I've heard, I know Big Man used to do, and Norton would talk about it, boil the dry bear beans until they get soft, take them out, and then you put them in vinegar. So they're just sitting in a bowl of vinegar until they absorb a lot of it, kind of like putting cucumber slice in vinegar, I guess. But
like
Big Man
pickling? Pickling?
Not pickling, just sitting in a bowl, like a little garnish or side dish.
Got it.
Put it in the fridge, pull it out. But you know, the doctors always talk about Americans need to, the American diet, the modern first world country diet is missing fiber and missing, you know, some of the good nutrients. And they all talk about beans. People don't eat beans anymore. But you know, you go to different communities, you get a mashed bean sandwich. Boy, that's unbelievably good.
Good stuff.
Yes, it is. So we haven't forgotten about how good beans are in the Haudenosaunee communities. But yeah, there's so many beans there. We just need to, people need to get a variety or two and grow them, because we have a lot of, maybe not a lot, we have a few people around the Confederacy that are growing 10, 11 varieties. And if we could share the load, everybody grow 1 or 2, that would be fantastic.